I've been a bricklayer. I will be a bricklayer 39 years in May. The first 15 years I worked with my tools in the field, and then the next 23 I've been in the office as a principal officer of the local union. My name is Dan McCall. I'm president of Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers, local number 8 of Illinois. Because we get criticized a lot about not having enough minorities on our projects, but yet Champaign and Urbana doesn't have building trades in their school system, so there's no exposure to it. I think, you know, the worst part about it is, you know, you got the kids that are in school, and you got those that want to be the next Michael Jordan, and those that aren't going to be the next Michael Jordan, and it doesn't necessarily have to be African American. I just think that we as a nation do not do a very good job of talking about alternative careers in our school system. I got into the trade because my dad, uncle, and grandfather were bricklayers, and it was the family tradition for me. I didn't want to go to school. I was done with school when I got out of high school, and this is a career path I chose. You know, it was talked a lot at the kitchen table when I was growing up. So, and just even at family reunions, if you were going to be in the construction industry, I'd have to be in the union. What are the benefits of being in the union? Better wages, better working conditions, the benefits, the health insurance, and the pensions. Most of the non-union people do not provide health insurance or pensions to their people, and usually are paying a lesser wage. We're going to give you an education. The on-the-job training part of this whole thing, I mean, you're getting paid while you're on the job working. The purpose of the interview, it's so you can kind of get an understanding of this person, talk to him about his work history, you know, look at his high school transcript, and see what his interests were in school. Did he do good in math? Because if he did good in math, there's a good chance that, you know, he has retained some of his math skills. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a lot of our interview is how you come across to the committee. Your personal look, not necessarily look. Look's not the right word, but you know, your personal way of coming across to the committee, how you promote yourself. I don't keep stats on counties, to be honest with you. I can tell you we have 1,300 members, and we have 35 African Americans and 2 females. But that's for 65 counties. I started in 1971. You know, you had guys who were from the 40s who were bricklayers, and they just didn't believe that there was a place for them in the unions. I shouldn't say that. There was certain, they would tell you that when you talk about the laborers, yeah, that's where they belong. They didn't belong in what they called a skilled trade. My uncle was actually the president when the first 2 African Americans came into this local. It didn't go over very well. You know, at that point in time, racial tensions being what they were, you know, there was mandates coming down from our international, you know, hey, we're not a country club. But I can tell you some of the real old timers, the guys that were about getting ready to retire when I started, there were some of them, if one of our 3 African Americans showed up on a job, they'd quit. I can tell you there was guys that are a little older than I am. Their dad brought them down to the union hall and they gave them an apprenticeship. There was no application process, and at the time I did it, yeah, there was an application process and there was an aptitude test. But, you know, before, and I'm going to say, I would guess ours was around 1970 because I started in 71. Might have been a little before that, but it was pretty much, you know, hey, I know this kid and I want him to be a bricklayer. And it was, you almost had to be related. It was an old boys club. I think we have a reputation that it's still an old boys club, and I think that comes directly from people who do not understand how the process works. And then, there again, there are people who probably feel like, they got slighted as a parent or a grandparent and don't encourage their kids to look at those careers. And I would say that doesn't necessarily mean what color your skin is either, because not everybody gets in. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, there's only so many jobs, and only so many people can get those jobs.